this one actually introduces our next subject with Chris Butler. Chris, what are we seeing here?
What you're looking at there is the buildup of satellites that are being tracked in Earth orbit since 1957, when there was only one. As the years have gone by, Sputnik was joined by dozens, hundreds, thousands of satellites up there in space. And you may wonder, rightly, if there's some possibility of things actually smashing into each other. Now, space is very big, and satellites are not very big compared to that, so it's rare. The last time it happened with a fairly large smash up was in the year 2009, but it seems to have happened again. We just want to call attention to that because space debris, space collisions, that is something that we're looking at addressing eventually. We know it's an increasing problem. This is just an illustration, not a real picture of a satellite collision there. These happen very far away. We find out about them when we lose communications with the satellite, for example, or when radar from the Earth tracks suddenly your one satellite now seems to be 100 little satellites, and they're moving away from each other. Well, what just recently happened in March is that a Chinese satellite, 700 kilometers up, that's how high it was, a fairly high orbit, but not all the way out with the geosynchronous satellites that are much farther. This Chinese satellite began to experience some problems. They started tracking about 40 new objects around the satellite. And at the same time, the U.S. Space Force, who that's a big part of their mission, they're the ones tracking this stuff, they noticed that a spent rocket stage, a Russian rocket stage, passed very close to that position at the exact moment all these new objects appeared around the Chinese satellite. So there probably was a collision there. Interestingly, though, the Chinese satellite is not destroyed. They've been able to control it since then, making changes to its orbit. So it looks like it got nicked instead of a full smash up there. But it is something we're going to have to be watching in the future with other satellites. The debris up in space generated by these, remember, one satellite getting hit, that can generate thousands of pieces of debris. And while it is not as crowded as it is in this artist's conception, there's everything up there from nuts, bolts, flecks of paint even. Moving that fast, if they hit something like the International Space Station, the space shuttles were hit a number of times in different ways, not fatally, not a serious problem, but it's something we really have to be careful and concerned about. We're looking at ways eventually to clean them up, to deorbit them and so forth. That's technology we don't have yet, but the space crash we just had is a reminder this is on our cosmic to-do list. Back to you, Dr. Wrightson.
Anyway, I wanted to comment. I think recently there was a hole put in the Canada arm, one of the arms on the space station. It had some debris went right through it. Luckily, it damaged the insulation around it. The arm is still working, but that could be a close call. So stuff is definitely out there. If you haven't seen the movie Gravity, it has some flaws with timings and orbits, right, but it's a heck of a good film and shows how dangerous space debris could be if you were up there.
One of the space shuttles actually got a small pit in its window on the flight deck it was actually a flake of paint. They figured out later. It didn't blow out the window, but that's the kind of thing that makes you think about this.
Yeah, and I get upset when a truck throws a rock and it takes a chip out of my shield on my car. I can't imagine being in the shuttle. So
of course.